I think so.
Well, welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another episode of the Sexy Wookiee Squadcast. Today we're reading X-Wing Rogue Squadron, and we'll be discussing chapters 25 to 32. It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
Hey, Sexy One reporting in.
Sexy too. Let's get to it.
Let's go.
Woohoo!
All right, guys. So, do you guys think that the Bothans knew it was false information? Do you think they were just that desperate to get in? Or do you think that they actually believed that it was legitimate?
Ooh, that's a pretty tough accusation. I don't think they knew that it was false, because like that's treason. Like that'd be bad news. They may not have been 100% confident in it and were desperate for information. But yeah, I don't think they were like, yeah, this is totally wrong. Oh well, we'll tell them anyway. But maybe they just weren't as thorough, weren't as careful. Clearly, were rushing, so maybe it was a time crunch rather than quality. So either way, they dropped the ball. It was sloppy work, guys. You got people killed. Thanks, Bothans.
Yep.
Yeah, they could have, I don't know, precautions. They could have taken every precaution for all the death that had happened. So, yeah, I think they had no clue. This is like your second time. This is your second intel that you're giving to the rebellion, and the rebellion's trusting you. So, to me, it's like they failed the rebellion again. And how many more times are you going to trust these Bothans before we keep giving them two chances? I remember a question a while back where it said, like, would you give a chance to, I think it was Curtin Lore, or was it Curtin Lore? No, it might have been somebody else, but
we did have a question about that.
I was like, how many chances will you give? You know?
Oh, it was for Tycho, I think.
Oh yeah, excuse me, Tycho. So yeah, so you give one chance. We gave you one chance during Endor, and succeeded. And I guess that's why they keep you around if you're successful. But without that success, if the success rate is always gonna give casualties, but war will always have casualties. So
When I was reading it, it kind of felt like they knew that they messed up. I don't know if they knew how incorrect the information was, but I feel like they let their pride get in the way. Like, yeah, we got the information that, worked last time. It was perfect. And the way that they rushed and were just so rude to everyone's questions, it felt like they had to have known something, that it wasn't that they weren't going to be as successful as they try to, make people believe. And so that's why I got to thinking, did they know it was false to some extent at least? Are they letting their pride get in the way?
Or they're just like, it's good enough, send them in. And then you're thinking, well, their skin's not on the line, right? What are they're just researching and have the spy network and that kind of thing. Well, no, I don't know. They die. Like many Bothans died to get us the information about the Death Star. So like it's dangerous work for them too. And then one of the pilots that got killed in the attack gone wrong was the only Bothan in Rogue Squadron. So, it wasn't costless for them to be this sloppy.
But the funny thing, right? Wasn't it the Emperor who gave who gave the information to the Bothans in Return of the Jedi?
I think this was addressed earlier in the book, where their claim was that he only made up that version of the story after he found out that they'd stolen the information. And I was like, well, I meant to give them that information. So nobody really knows, like, whose version of the story to believe.
Oh, yeah.
But,
All right, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
So would you guys volunteer for the risky mission?
Okay. Well, let's see. Depends. Well, not even depends. I was going to say, like, from Corrin's point of view, where you actually know more than the rest of the pilots, or from the other pilot's point of view, where you're going into just another mission that you don't know anything about, whatever. Either way, the way that it was presented, like, all this stuff has to go exactly right, and there is a lot of things that could go wrong, and if it does go wrong, you're on your own. Nobody's coming back for you. Like, scary stuff. But you wouldn't join Rogue Squadron unless you were willing to take on those kind of missions. Like, these are your craziest, least shy about danger and putting their life on the line pilots. So if I was in Rogue Squadron, I'd have to say yes to every mission. Just, throw me in, boss.
It'd probably have to depend on, do I have the qualifications? Do I have it to bring to the mission? If I don't have it, then I'd sit it out and have the ones who are more qualified take the mission. But then again, if your commander wants you on this mission, there's a reason. There's always a reason for it, right? So you can't say no to your commander. But if it were up to my choice, I always like to see what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and then if what I can bring to the table will be an asset for the team, if I can be an asset for the team and not a liability.
That's fair. When I was reading about that and thinking of the question, I kind of thought of Hamilton the musical and how they kept saying, what's the point in all this if you're not going to fight for what you believe in? You can stay quiet, but then what's that going to do? That's not going to do anything. And so then I was like, you know what, just thinking about that, I was like, I'd volunteer. Even if I died, at least I died for a cause. I died doing something that would be beneficial to the millions later on.
Yeah, and if you look at it, and we get to see the point of view of the pilots, everybody, said, yeah, pick me, but they didn't have enough ships for everybody. And then we kind of get the other side of things when Corin's talking to Arisi, and she's one of the ones that gets left behind. And it's like, I'm in this squadron. I signed up for this. Like, I want to be there for my squad mates. I want to take on this challenge, and I'm just going to have to sit here and let you go. And possibly not all of you are going to make it back, and I can't be there to help. Like, how it's that you just are sitting there waiting for the survivor's guilt, knowing that's at the end of this road. And instead you could be the one to have made that sacrifice, but you didn't get picked. So, which would be harder, going into this, knowing the risk, or knowing that you're going to survive, but that your friends aren't, possibly.
Yeah. Makes me think of that.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, makes me think of that quote that dying is easy, but surviving is a lot harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, go ahead, Ronald.
No, I said, I was going to say, did you say Arisi was going to stay? Relics is staying.
Yeah, okay, you guys. Guys can keep each other company until the rest of us get back.
Mirrex is also staying. Relics is staying.
Heck. Be right here.
Sorry, Corin.
I'm gonna keep Arisi warm.
She needs a lot of blankets.
Oh, that was Mirrex. Sure, coolant.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, ready for the next one?
Sure.
So I think it was Wedge and Tycho that they were talking about how they wonder about these younger people, the romanticization. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. I can't pronounce things.
No, isn't that right? Romanticization?
I don't know. My brain
You nailed it.
Sounds right to
today.
me. Sounds right to me.
I'm pretty sure I pronounced it wrong. For people out there, I think in 2 languages, so don't laugh too hard when I mispronounce things in either one.
Just nod and act like you understand, everyone. Romanticization, yeah.
So they were talking about how the heroes were being romanticized, the war and everything, and how they were saying, you know, what if they just join because of that, but they don't actually understand everything that goes into it, you know? So I wanted to ask you guys, do you agree or think that they were correct in the notion that these younger pilots may have just joined because of that, maybe because of the good stories and they just wanted to be the heroes? We hear that word thrown around a lot in the book, like, these heroes, we could be heroes. What do you think about that?
I think it's a perfectly legitimate concern for these guys to have, because they were with the rebellion. They were fighting when the odds were so incredibly stacked against them, when they were this scrappy hodgepodge group fighting the government of the galaxy with like endless resources and a planet blowing up, you know, weapon. And you're going up against that. Like, it takes a different stuff to be able to join that fight, rather than wait until these people have pretty much seized the victory and now you're just mopping up the remnants, and then you're going to jump in and be like, oh, I'm going to be on the rebellion side. Like, it's so much easier to join at that point, and the foe that you're fighting is so much weaker. So it would be concerning, like, oh, well, if these people really did have what it takes, why weren't they with us, you know, 5 years ago? But it could be age, it could just be that there was no opportunity at that time. But they have been put through the tests. They have had chances to prove themselves, and under the eye of these veterans, basically. So they have to have what it takes. And like he said, what they're fighting for now is completely different, but just as important.
Very good answer. Good answer. I like how you talked about opportunities. I totally agree. A lot of these new pilots are coming from places that are either Empire controlled, were under Empire controlled, or have another reason of why they joined, I think. So there's so many reasons. But if I were to sum up all or majority of who I think in the book when I'm reading, is I think if you join the rebellion, I think it said it somewhere in the book, is they were trying to fight for their freedom. Also, to a part of the first Death Star, is they were saying that they were trying to fight to survive, survival mode. And you wouldn't just join the rebellion just to join. You know, there has to be some reason, whether it be your freedom, whether your survival. Some are to protect their families. A lot of the pilots who were going into to volunteer were going to write back to a loved one or family member, and then they were, you know, if I don't make it back, you know, tell my family, you know, hopefully your memoir was good. So I think that it's, in order for you to be free from the, you know, from the Empire, the rebellion was the only way. And now you look back in A New Hope, see, for Luke Skywalker, it was different, because when he first met C-3PO, you could hear it in his voice. He's like, you know, the rebellion against the Empire? And it's like, okay,
like, they were already
dude, slow
legends
down. Yeah.
at that point, kind of.
And I like to think of Luke more as of like, you know, I'm pretty sure he loved his aunt and uncle, but not if it were, you know, his real mom and dad kind of way. So to him, it was more adventure. But for everybody else who's joined up, you know, probably whenever their cousins or their friends ever went back to their home planet, it's like they say, we're doing this in the rebellion. And it's funny, because I'll watch like some deleted scenes, and there's sometimes where like Biggs will talk to Luke and try to get him to join, or, you know, other things. But
Right.
Other times there's just things where I'm just going to kind of tell you stories, and maybe it might entice you to join the rebellion, or you might, for other people, it's like, well, this is the cause, and are you willing to fight for this cause? And then, you know, a light bulb switches, and then either somebody deflects or somebody who's not in the Empire finally says, oh yeah, it's time for me to join the rebellion, kind of thing. So everybody has their own different reasons, but there's always a reason for you to join.
Like those answers. When I was thinking about that, I had to take a step back, and I was just kind of thinking about how in real life, how some veterans talk the way that Tycho and Wedge were talking. They were like, some of these kids are just joining because they're like, oh, cool, I get to wear this uniform and I get to say I'm in this big thing without actually taking a step back and thinking about what they're doing. And then I was also thinking about how they kept saying like, heroes, we could be heroes. We're living up to these heroes. Like they just kept using that word. And I was thinking, they join for the right reasons, but are they staying for the right reasons? So, they joined for, different causes near and dear to their heart, but then the longer they're in it, they're in this elite squadron and everything. I was like, I kind of agree that I think they're just looking at it at this point at the romantic aspect, even though they know that they could die, that anything could happen. I think that some of them are just so focused on becoming legends.
Yeah, I think they touched on it. It's such a different kind of scenario than the battles that we saw Wedge in, that I guess Tycho would have been in. You just, unless you're really looking, you don't know what ship he's in. But you think about Yavin, and here the Death Star is like coming around in orbit, and in a couple minutes it's going to target your entire base, and then there goes your entire rebellion. Everything you fought for, everybody you know, is just going to be wiped out. That's it, the end. You're going to go into that battle with the kind of fire of a cornered animal, like no holds barred, just like, we're getting this done. And then the same thing, at Hoth, and I guess even at Endor, because their whole fleet showed up there and was about to get wiped out, and that would have been the end. So all these times they're fighting on the defensive, like they are fighting for the survival of the rebellion completely. And now Rogue Squadron and the rebels, they're on the offense, so they're the ones kind of going in, picking their targets and making their plans. And so it's not the same kind of desperation and just willingness to do anything to win that Wedge would have been used to. So that could be a concern.
Any other thoughts, Ronald?
I think you're right. I think they're not going it in as hard as they were, where it was really like, the whole galaxy can die today if we don't survive, right? So that first Death Star. But moving forward, I think it's not that they don't want to come in and out that way anymore, where it's just, we're gonna go into it like leap of faith, whatever happens kind of thing. It's desperation mode, it's win or lose. They're not coming in from that angle anymore. Now that they've won, they're coming in more from, I think, more of in a way of just, they're coming in more of it is like, we're following the strategy more. We know the formula. We know, yeah, right. We know the formula to win. We have the recipe to win. Will this recipe work for this type of battle? And so, yeah, right. They're more careful. So they have to look at the plan more, opposed to just like, okay, let's plan for, half a day, half a few hours, and then we're going in taking on the Death Star.
Right.
It's more planned out with these missions.
Good thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready for this next one?
Let go.
Sure.
I think Ronald is gonna like this question.
Oh boy.
So, we keep hearing about Corrin holding his good luck charm, squeezing it, whatever.
Right?
So what are your guys' thoughts on the fact that it's a Jed card.
Oh, Jed cred.
Jed cred, sorry, Jed cred.
Oh my gosh. I was like, Relics, this is you.
I immediately was like, Ronald is gonna love it. I have to ask something about this.
Exactly. I love the idea. And you got to keep in mind, oh gosh, you know, y'all can cream me if this is incorrect, but if I remember right, these books came out before the prequels. So we really kind of didn't know what the rules of Jedi were at this point and how that whole thing worked. So, you know, this was sure, you know, everybody, the Jedi know their family and they have friends and all this stuff on their home planet, and everybody can celebrate when they get promoted and all this kind of stuff. So it was great. Of course, it's not quite like that if you go prequel rules, I guess. But still, like, the idea of it, I love it. Like, this little memento, and that Corrin's been carrying it this whole time, not knowing what it was, and like, what does this mean? Like, why would his father have this? Who is that? Like, what's going on here? And does Relics have one? That's what I want to know.
I'll answer your question first, Megan. Who knows? Because, like I said last week, I said last week, I don't even have, you know, anything of my own. Not that I know of, right? And I probably do, and I didn't say it last week, but I probably do, and I didn't know what it was. Same as Corrin kind of thing. To answer the original question, yes. Let me go back. This book came out in 1996. Again, for everyone, 1996.
Yes, I was right.
Definitely. Like I'm a believer now that all these, you know, talismans and good luck charms, and they revolve around the Force somehow. And okay, I'm not gonna say everybody's a Jedi, right? Because it's not. It's not. It's not what you know. Not everybody's a Jedi, but you could. I guess you could be a Sith, and you could have your own type of you know, bad luck charm, good luck charm on the other side as well, right?
So are you saying everyone is Force sensitive at this point, good or bad?
Everyone.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know how I want to go about this. You know, this question for everybody who watches this. I guess I'll take the high road on it, and I'll do the simple way out. Everybody can be a Jedi. I'm not saying that you're practicing a type of religion, a type of, you know, a certain belief, but you can all be a Jedi in your own daily lives, whatever that may be. And if it takes something like a medallion, or, you know, your vehicle to work, or I don't know, whatever it is, just getting up in the morning, like, I guess you could just ask yourself, like, how can I be a Jedi today? So just, it's just simple as that. Like, everybody.
Hashtag what would a
it can be
WWAJD.
I guess it can just be as simple as, you know, taking every day and just performing at your most, you know, just live life. You know, we're given life, and as we know, in these books and in real life, life is short. So just make everything out of your the everyday, like, meaning just fulfill your day however you fulfill it. I'm not saying like, oh, be happy and positive every day. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, you know, choose to get up and live life. That's all we're here to do, is live life. We read books, we live life. We watch movies, we live life. We go to work, we live life. Whatever life is throwing at you in every day, live life. And
this motivational moment brought to you by Ronald.
Right. So for, you know, for him to have this medallion, though, Okay, so let's talk about the book. For
Yeah,
him to
let's-
have this medallion, he didn't know what it was, but he knew it's from his father. And as long as it was from his father, that's all that matters. It didn't have to matter whether it was from a Jedi. When he probably heard the story it was from a Jedi, then he kind of changed. Like, oh, like, whoa, this is something mystical, right? But like I said, like you were performing at your like absolute best. You've gotten to your best so far without knowing that that was a Jedi medallion.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if it had any force sensitive, like whatever, you were performing at your best, because that's how he chose to live everyday life. Is the moment I get up and I get in my X-Wing, I'm ready to blow the Empire up. And that's what I mean is like every leader, every person, look, everybody is a leader. Everybody is like in your own world, in your own life, whatever you surround, everything that surrounds you is you bring good to them. So you bring good to it. You bring good to everything just by getting up in life. And so that's what I mean. Like I want to take an example every day from Corin now is just, I don't have to look and think of like, oh, what's going to make me great today? Or what's going to make me a hero today? Or how can this, like stop formulating a plan that's going to get you that hero level and just perform to your like most like hero level way that every time you get out, like out of your bed until you're, you're hitting the, your bed to go to sleep. If you even do sleep, if you want to be successful, like
No time for sleep.
sleep is not an option.
Dang.
Sleep's not an
Even
option.
Corin needed to sleep. Jeez,
He needed to
Louise.
sleep. Yeah.
He really
but-
needed to sleep.
So
But
Ronald,
he was going on missions, that you need to go to sleep and then have to go on another mission, or just to be ready for that next alert. Yep, let's go.
so what are your thoughts on it being a jet cred?
I was kind of happy. Like I was really happy for it to be
Good.
something Jedi like, because man, it's showing you. It's like I said, you can't write anything Star Wars without lightsabers, the Force, and Jedi. You take that out, you've taken the whole recipe out. I'm calling every future writer, you want to take that out of the element.
More Jedi.
Yeah. I'm not saying more Jedi, but I'm saying don't take out those elements of like lightsabers and the Force. Like all that is the recipe to Star Wars. The moment you don't have that, we don't have Star Wars no more.
Most Wanted didn't have lightsabers, did it?
No, but I mean they had Sulo who
Yeah,
had
we had some Force.
who believer.
We did.
But yeah.
So I just want you to know, Ronald, I thought of you for that question. I was like, oh look, finally something Jedi.
That was
I have
for
to
this
ask this
one.
for him, yep.
Everybody, if you are not on our social media and reading the little profile blurbs that we had about each one of us, first of all, follow us on social media, and then you'll learn a little bit more about all of my wonderful book club mates. But yeah, this one loves Jedi.
He thinks everyone is a Jedi.
Everything
so,
is Jedi. Everything is
Yep.
Force.
Yep. So I had to do that for you, Ronald. I hope you like that question.
No, I did. When I read that part in the book, I was like, oh, Ronald, you're gonna love it.
I thought it was
Yeah.
really interesting, like his reaction. He's just like, I don't know why, but I pictured it kind of, he's like, oh, really? It's that? Like, it was special because, it came from the dad, but I don't think it was that special that it was a Jedi thing. So I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then for a split second, I was like, oh my God, they're going to say the dad was a Jedi or some nonsense, blah, blah, blah. And then in my head, I'm like, no, maybe he just made a Jedi friend who gave it to him, or he found it
Just had a friend.
or he found it doing some Corsic nonsense. So I was like, okay, don't think too much into it, but it's really cool. All right, ready for this last one?
Yep.
All right, I'm looking forward to this.
All right, guys, give me your thoughts. I want to hear everything. Team Marisi or Team Mirax?
Oh, shoot!
I thought we'd have a little fun with this.
This
last
is
one.
happening. Oh
Let
my
the chaos
gosh.
ensue.
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, clearly, I think that Corin and Merrick's have a little bit more chemistry. But like, you know, when you like to personally identify with somebody, and I think Eurysse's more my style. So I'm like, like I'm rooting for you, girl, but at the same time, I'm like, but like they're so cute together. Like, I don't know, the two Corellians and with the history, and I don't know, she's just like a little bit more playful with him instead of like coming on so strong. So like it's fun. But yeah, oh, that's tough. Like ultimately, who would I have to say?
I mean, if you want, we can always come back to if you want to hear our thoughts.
No, I'll have to say Team Mirax. I just like it better, but I still want Eurysse to be happy. Want her to get someone good.
That's fair.
I've changed. It's, or maybe I'm still have the same one in my mind that I
don't even know what he was before.
I thought you were Team Eurysses before.
Oh, were you?
Oh yeah. So okay. So it's yeah, it stays. So, but I'll give my reasoning and I'll back it up even more.
Oh, okay. This ought to be good
today. So she did, like, I mean, she came on strong already in the, you know, the last 8 chapters that we read last week, but with this is more, she's a little bit more open to, you know, to Corin. And I think reading Corin and me trying to read Corin, he's a little bit more Team Eurysses too as well. And that may be because of her beauty. Because beauty will always blind. Like, how does he not know that if she's a good, you know, good person inside as well as a good looking person outside? But if you already know what you want, and I think he already stated he wanted her, because he kind of found it, like, he hit his head and said, oh, what am I doing? Like, I should go back.
Yeah, and he like followed her and kind of singled her out after the group conversation and was just like, I'll walk you to your room. I'm like, bro, you know what you're doing.
Right. But like I said, I stick to it. He's still trying to figure out mission comes first before love, before any of this, because that will come later. I love, I forgot who's the person who was trying to, the opposites attract, where like Leia, was that Mirax?
Huh? Oh, it was Wedge later, right?
Oh, was it
yeah,
Wedge?
Wedge compared them.
Oh, when they're trying to compare it.
Yeah.
When he's trying to compare Mirax, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm for that too. Opposites do attract, but
like everybody.
The thing is with like Mirax is more of like a sisterly vibe. I'm starting to get, where you can care so much for a person, but it's only going to get to a sisterly vibe, and then the more it tries to play out, it's just going to play out a sisterly vibe. I could be wrong moving forward. I don't know.
You want him to friend zone her?
No, I'm not saying friend zone her, but it's like
Megan got real offended.
Like, I don't know.
But Mirax, I don't know. There's too much of a sisterly vibe in it, because I think, you know, the dad being adversaries is a little bit too much. Okay,
like, can you overcome that?
Yeah. We could have grown up like being brother and sister kind of vibe.
Well, like she did with Wedge.
Right. So with Eurysses, it's more of like, this is somebody totally new. I don't know a lot about you. And that's what, so, I mean, Eurysses is totally a mystery. So you better come home. You better make it back from this mission, and you better find out. Because, you know, like I said from the last question, you know, life is short. You gotta, you know, if you come back alive and this is what it's been on your mind, take it. And, you know, with everything else that you've been doing, you know, so he's been performing to every 100%, like piloting, making friends, whatever, you name it, right? But it's this one point of where he's trying to analyze, no, you already know what you want. Like, now, just go and get it. Like, it's simple. Like like that's what I can't stand with like.
Oh, obvious. Come on.
It's the truth. It's life. Like people are always gonna wonder like, oh, I can't like, but you know, it's that fear. It's that fear that gets him to it. And so like the fear, like, oh, if I do this, my mission might go like, it might be, you know, some type of like bad mojo on the mission.
Excuses.
Come on. Yeah, exactly. Like no more excuses, Corin. Like you're developing into this hot shot pilot. Let's get up there, invert yourself, and like attack every moment.
Wow. Okay.
Execute. Come on, Pilot 9, let's go.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
I'm team Marisi.
Holy
I'm team
moly.
Marisi.
Ronald,
Team
I think
Mauricio
you're
all the
gonna hate my answer.
I don't know. He
So-
might have sold me though. I'm like,
So-
wait a minute.
For Irisi, I just keep thinking about how Corin gave that example, how he was like, oh, I was in love with my partner because she saved me or whatever, or it could have been vice versa. It's been a long day. So anyway, he's like, yeah, you know, but it was all just lust and it was the adrenaline. And I keep thinking it's just the adrenaline she's feeling. And so to me, I'm like, she just needs to get laid, but not by him, because she just needs to be unwound. But with Mirax, I like how they're just so comfortable that they could be like kind of sassy. They could do their, you know, remarks, but they could still be so meaningful to each other. And it doesn't feel pressured the way it does with the Reese. With the Reese, it just feels like she's just trying really hard for something that may not even be there. Like, how well do they even know each other?
It does
she's
feel more
pushing this
lust.
hard.
You're right.
It just feels like this girl just needs to get laid.
He needs to get some.
She just needs to get some. Hit it, quit it, goodbye.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do that, why not Corin? Like, friggin' he's hot. I'd do him. Let's
Yeah,
go
but
for the top. Come on, girl.
Go get laid by someone else. Don't mess with him. It's clear
Don't
that he's
settle.
he's going through something. Okay, but if you're just gonna get laid, it's like a one night stand, not a relationship. So just go have like a one night stand or two and call it a day and get over your lust. But with Mirax, I just like how comfortable it is. Like, they make their jokes about like, oh, yeah, right, born enemies or whatever nonsense, but it just feels so comfortable, so natural. And, she's not trying too hard. He's not trying too hard. And it feels like that's something that could develop over time. It wouldn't be anything quick, maybe like a little bit of a slow burn, but I'm Team Mirax because it just feels so natural versus, hey, come stay the night. Hey, come do this, come do that. I'm just going to keep kissing you. I'm going to put my cleavage out there. Like, girl, you are in lust. Go get laid by someone else. Have a one night stand. Have a drink after. Call it a day. But Mirax I just like that chemistry. I really do.
Okay, you might have brought me back a little, but think about it from Irisi's point of view, where you are in Rogue Squadron and the guy you like is in Rogue Squadron, and both of you know that on average, one of you is going to die in the next couple missions. Like, the clock is ticking. Mirax, she, what does she care? She's not tied to this. She can go find whoever she wants.
Uh-huh. But does she actually like him? Or is it just that adrenaline pumping through her being like, yeah, I really like him, or,
the first time maybe just because it was her first kind of life and death after the moment adrenaline moment. But at this point, I mean, sure, she'd kind of had another moment, but it didn't have anything to do with him, and she's still feeling that. So it's, that passing lust would have passed by then.
Not necessarily, especially if they still came back from that risky mission, and it can, so with each mission that they do, she could get that re-energized burst of lust. And so it may not necessarily be that she likes him, but kind of like you said, like, we could die at any moment, but if they weren't in that life and death situation, would she still be feeling that way? If they weren't like time's a ticking, one of us is going to die or both of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Would she still be feeling that?
So it's probably Mirax is more sincere because she's not under the time crunch.
Yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. It kind of feels like Mirax is more sincere with that versus Arisi that's just like, oh my God, we could die. We should just do this. Because I mean, what if there was like some other guy in a different squadron or whatever, and she was in lust with him, but she's like, oh well, he's closer, whatever. You know, maybe he was just. Have you, you know, like those cartoons where like Cupid shoots his bow and then the very first person
Latch
that
on.
cartoon sees, yeah. So that's why it kind of feels that way for Reese, at least just to me. That's my opinion. It kind of feels like he was the first one she saw, and she's like, I'm gonna latch on to this guy. But that's just me.
Yeah, see, I looked at her and I was like, okay, she's like the hot, rich chick who's like, you know, decent at piloting, and then she's like, oh, this is the really hot, like really good pilot, so I like him. And so I was like, oh, I identify with that. And I was, the whole confrontation, I'm like, you put me and Zori Bliss in the same room as Poe's going on a mission, I will tear her head off. Like, I get you, like, get her, Marisi. But then ultimately I'm like, oh, but he's so cute with Mirax. I don't know.
I mean, it's okay to, you know, go back and forth. There's good things about both.
I'm waffling. Right. I don't know.
I'm going to answer one of the questions first that you had. Again, I think it's, you only have as many pilots as you have in your squadron. So they don't know too much outside of their bubble. Until they're free and they're able to go to other worlds and, you know, be able to explore or even retire from the rebellion. I think that's the only time you're going to be able to find lifelong love or whatever, or the, if this was your meant to be, then you can like, you know, I say it with relics and conics all the time. Like if, you know, if this ever, if they're ever able to go out into Batu and, you know, eat that kettle corn all day, then so be it. Right. But so I think it's the bubble they're in right now is all they know. So that seems that, you know, real life plays that same way too. It's like, well, you don't look for anybody outside of your bubble, because then it's like, it's like, who's that person? I don't know them. And then your fear gets in the way, and then you don't go outside. There's only a few who can do that. But because they're in this, like, oh man, hostile is too much of a heavy word, but I'm gonna use that. It's a hostile scenario, environment, whatever you want to call it, in this mission, in this rebellion right now, that you're only going to look for people inside your team, your bubble,
the people you know the best.
Yeah, even if it was other squadrons, it's like, oh well, that other person's still in the other squadron, it's still a different team. I don't feel close, like I can't feel intimate or close with somebody from another team. I mean, do I think like that? Not these days. Like, I think people should look into loving other people outside of your squadron, Y wings, A wings, like go find love everywhere, you know. But life always likes to put us where we know, where we feel comfortable.
Does Arisi actually love him though, or is it just lust? You know.
Well, I mean, thinking about
what you were saying, what if they do end up together and she's just like, oh God, no, this isn't what I wanted. It was just my lust talking.
Think of it, like, look at her choices. Yeah. If you're in this squadron, you've got your like Romeo and Juliet sworn enemy families in Bror, who like she's just got, you know, a history of disliking him and everything he stands for. Or what, Gavin, who's a little kid, or a bunch of like not even like humanoid aliens, or your superior officers, Wedge or Tycho, who are both hot. So like, sure, but still, you know, it's a little inappropriate. But
go high or go home,
right? I mean, hello. But yeah, so other than that, what? Corn's top choice, number one.
Yeah, but you guys are just thinking about that tiny little bubble when there's so many other options out there.
Not when you're in Rogue Squadron. You don't have time for other options.
No, wow. But like I said, at the end of the day, Team Arisi, if it doesn't go that way, like, you know, I'd love to read how it ends up being it's going to be. Or if he, you know, he goes until the 9th book and he still can't decide, then I'm just gonna say
I don't
chorus.
think anybody's surviving that long. I'm just gonna be happy no matter what. I like
Right.
both of them are
story,
different.
yeah. But we're finishing it up next week. Are you guys
Oh my
excited?
gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's the last 8 chapters or however many chapters. So from chapters 33 to the end of the book for next week. So if anybody's reading along with us, let's finish this off and see how this mission goes and who comes back and who do they end up with when they come back. Like, I gotta know. So I'm excited about this next
fall
week.
into his arms.
So got a few hashtags for you guys, either in the comments, Instagram, any social media. Hashtag what would a Jedi do? And then hashtag Team Marisi or hashtag Team Mirax.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know why as well, because it's fun getting to
Right.
know everybody's like thought process on which person and
And even
why.
if you're not reading the book with us, like, just pick one and
An uneducated choice. Pick one.
let's let our polls like do the voting for us.
No, this has
so
been
just
a fun book. I can't believe we're
This is
almost
so
to
good.
the end.
I
Right,
know.
right.
I'm so sad to I'm excited to see what happens, but at the same time, I'm like, no.
Yeah, definitely switching gears next time, which we'll tell you all about in the next episode. But yeah, we really look forward to everybody finishing off this Rogue Squadron adventure with us. And I guess we will gather again next week and see how this all ends. So close us out. Let's go.
All right.
Sexy Wookiee.
Wookiee.